I mean, he prophesied about how they would look and what they would do, and you can find it in your history book or books. If you know very much about history, John prophesied about the Mussolini-Hitler axis and all the evil that they would do in this end time. And if he prophesied all of those 6 heads, then you can be sure the 7th one is going to appear also, and it's already very much on the world scene, and anybody ought to be able to see it. Anybody. Daniel prophesied of those last 7 heads of the Roman Empire, as did John. And if he can tell you all about Hitler and Mussolini and all of these terrible things that came, then we know also that if those prophecies came through or came to pass, then so does the 7th one have to come to pass. They all are going to come to pass, and we're going to be able to see it right before our eyes. I mean, it's so dreadful and so terrible, nobody can miss it. And oh, how it is going to radically change the lives of multiple millions of people on this earth. Notice Revelation 13 and verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now this is very specific and it's very frightening, and again I ask the question, why don't you hear more about it? Why? What is the problem? Well, let me again quote from the little booklet on who or what is the prophetic beast. Just a short quote. First of all, the beast has a number and may be identified if we have wisdom by the number. Number 2, the number is 666. Number 3, we are told to count this number. That is, add it up. The same Greek word is used elsewhere, only in Luke 14:28, where it talks about counting the cost. So count the numbers, add them up. Number 4, the number 666 is the number of the beast. The only Bible interpretation of this symbol, beast, is a kingdom or the king who rules it, and therefore really is the kingdom. Daniel 7 tells you all about that. Therefore 666 must be the number of the kingdom or government or empire, as well as that of the king who founds or rules it. The expression, the name of the beast or the number of his name, makes plain that the number 666 is the number of the name of the kingdom or empire. And number 6, finally, the expression is the number of a man. Shows we must also count this number in the name of the king or ruler over the kingdom identified as the beast. Now, again, this is a somewhat involved subject, although it's covered in this little booklet, but you need to get this little booklet to really understand it in detail and be able to study and prove this from your own Bible. I mean, these prophecies are coming alive in your own Bible, and they're so terrible and wonderful that you can't afford to not understand them. We all must understand. Of course, the word beast is just a symbol for kingdom, as you can see as you go through this, and the king and kingdom are used interchangeably. But it is talking about the Roman Empire. Now here's the amazing thing about this, and again you can prove this. The name of the kingdom, also its founder and first king, and each man in that kingdom is you can count to exactly 666. That is the name of the kingdom. It'll add up to 666. The founder or the first king will add up to 666. And each man in that kingdom, what that man is, each man is called, adds up to 666. Now, look, who understands this today? I don't find understanding. I have to honestly tell you I do not, and people and evangelists don't really discuss it. They almost ignore it. And yet how can we ignore this? And how can God's very elect not understand it if it's all for this very end time that we're living in right now? Today, Satan has labored for years and years throughout man's history to deceive man, and oh, how he has deceived him. And Revelation really does magnify that deceit, but also tells you the wonderful outcome, the good news at the end of all of this. So it's time to stop ignoring this extremely dangerous part of these prophecies. Though the outcome is good, it could be a lot better, and we could have peace a lot sooner if men would heed this message and listen to what God says and just believe God. Believe His Word. Not believe in God, but believe Him. Believe what He says. This is, after all, His Word, and Christ said that we ought to live by every word of God. And you can prove this certainly is His Word. Notice Revelation 13 and verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? They worshiped. I mean, this political organization and this religious organization, church and state together, actually worship the dragon or the devil. You can see why it's so ferocious and fierce like no other animal on this earth. You can see why. And I'll tell you this, it's so powerful that it's going to make war. And it gets so powerful that the people that are a part of it see this monstrous war machine and think that no nation or groups of nations can make war with this kingdom or this beast or this power. They think no power on earth would dare make war with this monstrous machine. Now, can you imagine not understanding that in the end time? Can we imagine not really grasping what God is telling us in this very end time? And do we see how vital it is that we understand? And again, why don't we hear more about it? Why? Well, I'll tell you, it gets even worse. Notice verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. He had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. Now, you see, he looks like a lamb. On the surface, it looks like a church following Christ on the surface. But you better look a little closer. You'd better look closer because it speaks like the dragon, because it worships the dragon, and it has the message of the dragon. And oh, how deceived this world is. How very, very deceived they are. You see, again, how can people be so deceived? How can you be so deceived that you think you're following God and you're worshiping the devil? I mean, that's what your Bible says, and maybe some people don't like to hear it, but are we ashamed of Christ? Are we afraid to hear Christ's message, what He has to tell us? And I'll tell you, this church guides that beast. You can see the last 7 heads are guided by this beast. And if you look at verse 7, you can see that all of God's lukewarm people, His own church, His own lukewarm, rebellious people are going to be killed by this monster. Every single one of them, as they worship the dragon, thinking they're worshiping God, and actually kill the very people of God, though lukewarm. And in verses 13 and 14 talks about all kinds of miracles that are going to occur. I mean, this beast is going to perform miracles. And these 2 leaders are going to, certainly the religious leader is going to perform miracles. And people are going to believe it's of God, and it isn't going to be of God. Now, there are going to be miracles that have a lot of deceit in them, but nevertheless, God labels them as miracles. Notice verse 15 and 16. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, this religious leader in this church causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You see, the church causes all this, and it causes the people to receive a mark. Now that mark is, again, you need this little booklet to explain that to you. Who or what is the prophetic beast? You really need that, because it will show you that this mark revolves around the day you worship God. It involves the Ten Commandments because, well, it is one of the Ten Commandments. As far as God's day, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. It is part of the Ten Commandments. And James says, look, if you break one of the Ten Commandments, you break them all. So it is about the Ten Commandments. But you need to think about this, because in the Middle Ages, I'm telling you, that beast destroyed some 50 million people. That's in the Middle Ages. And God says, well, that's not, that time and the destruction there is going to be, well, just a picnic compared to what's coming. It's going to be worse. It is going to be worse than anything we've ever seen on this earth. And it's coming in this very end time, the time that we're living in right now. Now that's something that we need to give a lot of thought to, and frankly a lot of prayer, because this is so important to your life. What could really be more important? All these people that end up getting killed or hurt or whatever do so because they don't have God's protection. They don't believe God. And those people who do believe God, God says He's going to protect from all of this, that they're not going to have to worry about that little remnant that the Bible talks about so often, the little remnant that God says He will protect if they will come out of this world, come out of Babylon, come out of this world and keep the commandments of God, and keep God's Sabbath, and keep God's way of life, that it brings such joy and peace and happiness, along with some trials too. But we need those trials to help us to build the character to qualify to rule this world kingdom that's coming with Jesus Christ. Now that's what God is going to give you to do if you choose to, or let Him choose you and obey Him in this age. That is what is going to happen in your life. This is good news. It's the greatest event ever to occur in the universe, the return of Jesus Christ to this earth. And He's going to smash that beast, totally smash it, and bring peace and joy to the earth and to the universe forever.
Who or what is the beast of the apocalypse? What does Bible prophecy reveal about world events now leading to Armageddon and the end of this age? If you're interested in learning the answers to these critical questions, then call the number on your screen and ask for who and what is the prophetic beast. This booklet is a real eye-opener. It's one of the most popular booklets we have. It was first written by Herbert W. Armstrong several decades ago, and today we see much of it being fulfilled right before our eyes. Call now and ask for your free copy. There is no cost or obligation. It's already been paid for. If you missed any part of today's program, don't forget you can watch all of it online at thetrumpetdaily.com. Thank you for watching today's program, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.